you need to. We're gonna work on that today. We're doing a little recording stuff today. So I'd say within the next like couple of weeks, we'll probably get you over miles.
Okay.
Have Austin. We good here? Okay. So go. No. We're going to go, though. Thank you, Miles.
River is Good morning, and welcome to First Unitarian Universalist Church. For over 150 years, we have gathered here in Rochester on the ancestral lands of the Dakota people, striving to be a church of open minds and loving hearts, celebrating many sources of wisdom and many spiritual paths. Your faith, your doubts, your questions, your hopes for our world, and your story are welcome here. We are grateful to be open on both sides of our doors, online and in person again. You can join us at 10 o'clock outside if you're in person in the courtyard for coffee, donut holes, tea, or online for coffee hour on Zoom. And today we're grateful for our speakers, Stephanie Evans Hansen and Heather Vinge Hansen. No direct relation that we know of, but joining a tradition here of members of the congregation offering reflections on spiritual journey and beliefs. Thank you both for saying yes and for being here this morning. And thank you to our guest musicians, Root River Jam, already kicking us off this morning, offering your gifts of music. We're so glad that you're here. They really brought down the house last time they were here, I guess, because the following week we closed for COVID. So I'm glad you're helping us reopen again, and we don't anticipate that happening this time. I'm glad you're here. Welcome back. A few quick announcements for congregational life here. Camp Unistar, a Unitarian Universalist camp in northern Minnesota, is open for registration. They, like many places, have struggled during these last 2 years finding ways to stay open and be sustained, understandably. They have wonderful programs, so if you have questions about it or would like to know more, Paula Horner can speak to you at coffee hour. There's some information in the e-news as well. And our annual pledge drive has kicked off. There's a table downstairs. There's information in the e-news or on the website from Valentine's Day through St. Patrick's Day. It's through the generosity of all of us together that this church stays alive and vibrant, especially during these last 2 years. And it's time to remind each other that it is only together that we thrive. So join us in a festive online talent show on March 5th. Pledge info will be coming out some more specific information at a forum on March 9th or in the e-news as well with information about how to pledge and why. And you can visit our website too or visit the table in the lobby any of these weeks. And finally, our monthly justice partner is SMILE, the Southern Minnesota Interfaith Immigration Legal Defense. Half of our offering plate for the month of March will go to their work. Thank you for your generosity. You can give at the sides of the room here or online anytime. So I invite you to take a breath wherever you are this day, this moment. Let us enter into this time of worship and meditation with these words of our minister in the 1870s, the Reverend Eliza Tupper Wilkes. May our faith in humanity and our message of hope and good cheer light our way. It's good to be together. Amy Nelson will light the chalice.
Today's chalice lighting words come from the Reverend Dr. David Breeden. Into the circle. We gather into this circle. We gather into this circle of care to dream, to envision, to embody and achieve. The compassion we dream, the justice we envision, the dignity of each in ever-growing circle of love and justice.
That will run down to the sea, like my heart longs for an ocean that will wash down over me. Oh, won't you take me from this valley to that mountain high above? I will pray, pray, pray till I see your smiling face. I will pray, pray, pray till the night comes. Lord, the outcast of acceptance make hold in your grace. Oh, won't you take me from this valley to that mountain high above? I will pray, pray, pray till I see your smiling face. I will pray, pray, pray to the one I love. Of a strong wind that will float beneath her wings, like a voice longs for melody. Oh, Jesus, carry me. I will pray, pray, pray till I see your smiling face. I will pray, pray, pray to the one I love. Oh, I will pray, pray, pray till I see your smiling face. I will pray, pray, pray to the one I love.
Today's story is a special one. It is inspired by a girl named Sofia Sanchez. She was born in the Ukraine back in 2009, and at 16 months old, she was adopted by her forever mom and dad and her forever 3 older brothers and moved to the United States. Sofia has Down syndrome. She looks and learns differently than other kids, but in many ways, Sofia is just like any other kid. She likes to draw and read and dance and enjoys learning Spanish. Most importantly, she believes in herself and wants to inspire others to love themselves too, because we are all beautiful just the way we are. Today's story was inspired by Sofia and written by Margaret O'Hare and illustrated by Sofia Cardoso. No two people are exactly the same, and we're all unique, and that's great, fantastic, because being different is what makes you special. You are just right exactly as you are. Being different can be lonely, and you may feel like you don't belong, but we're all in this together, because everyone needs a friend. Friends to help one another, friends to learn from one another. Friends know that no two people are alike, and a true friend will celebrate you just as you are. But some people don't understand. They think that being different is kind of scary. But try to be good and brave and strong and let people see the real you. Some things may seem bigger than you, but you are stronger than your fears. That's why you have courage. Courage is when something is scary, but you do it anyway. And don't let anyone try to stop you from taking a chance or trying something new. Surround yourself with people who love you. They are your cheerleaders, and listen to them when they say, yes, you can. When you fall down, get back up. Stay fierce. You know you've got this. Don't stay on the sidelines. It's your story. Be the star. Be you wherever you are. If people stop and stare, just keep going. Remember, not everyone may understand you, but that doesn't mean you can't still be happy just the way that you are. Never say no to being yourself. Feel your own beauty inside and out. When you let your light shine, you will brighten the whole world. Wouldn't it be boring if everyone was the same? Being different is beautiful. Just be you, because you are enough. Being enough means you are full of love and you have purpose. You aren't perfect, because no one is. But you are okay being perfectly yourself. You are enough, and your friend is enough. Your teacher and neighbors and community are enough too, because we need to remember we all belong. Look for the good in the world. Start by looking in the mirror. Love what you see there, because just like me, you are enough. As the band starts to play, I'll ask the children to meet me by the door right over here.
Good morning. It is so good to be back here with you all. I invite you to settle in here as we create a place of communal caring and connection. Be enriched by the presence of each other and draw yourself closer into the heart of love at this time of service and reflection. In this time together, we ask that our minds be open, our hearts welcoming, our arms embracing. Here, we honor all who support us in this caring, loving, and all-inclusive ministry. We send gratitude to Marge Dalen, serving as our caring coordinator, arranging care for our members and friends in need. The members of our caring committee are wonderful examples of our compassionate community, holding us up as we go through challenging and happy times. This last year has taken a lot out of us. It has taken a lot from us. And if during this time, the need you are experiencing needs or challenges, we encourage you to reach out for support and help. Many of us may need additional care, whether it be personal pastoral care or other assistance, and we encourage you to reach out to Reverend Luke or myself with that request. Today's flowers are shared by us in celebration of our regathering and welcoming of new members at our 11 a.m. service. In this community, we share pieces of our lives with one another. We do this because all people here have value. Each person's experience matters. We lift up those who are experiencing sadness, illness, or loneliness. May the strength and love in our congregation help guide you. We revel in those who are experiencing joys in their lives. May their happiness lift us all, and may their joy filter into all around them. May all of us find love, hope, joy, and healing strength in our community. Please hold in your hearts Marty Peterman and his wife Charlotte. Marty has been admitted to St. Mary's Hospital with the return of thyroid cancer, which has been located near his heart. As they travel this journey again, cards of support and well wishes would be very much appreciated. Please send healing thoughts to them at this time. And dealing with some medical issues for the last few months has been challenging for Bill Meinhardt and his wife Kathy. Recently, they discovered an infection at a previous hip replacement site, and as a result, a temporary hip implant will be placed on Friday. Bill is relieved that it can be done that soon so he can get on the road to recovery. Positive thoughts sent their way are appreciated, and we send he and Kathy strength and well wishes for a successful outcome. And I'm thrilled to share the great news that finally Daryl Waters will be released from Madonna Towers Rehab, returning home on Tuesday after a very unexpectedly long stay, starting in September of last year. He is able to bend his knee and is overjoyed to be returning home to his antiques and his partner Tim. We wish him a steady healing as he settles back in at home. And as our UUs have been doing for over 150 years, we are continuing to adjust to an ever-changing world and new ways of doing things. Through this time of adjustment, we ask for hope and patience, understanding and acceptance, and a renewed commitment of service to those in our lives, church, and community. May the faith in the Spirit of life, love for the community of earth, and love for the light in each other be ours now and in all the days to come.
I invite you to take a breath. Breathe deep the breath of life. Feel below you the earth and its ancient turning. Above you the sky, and beyond that the stars shining with its ancient light, holding you in this moment, this breath. Know that in this house you are named and you are known as beloved, as sacred, as welcome. I invite you into this time of meditation and prayer, first by sharing silence together. Spirit of life and source of love, God of many names and beyond all naming. On the days when healing seems slow and we are asked again and again by each other or our own souls by the unknown risks that we carry, or on the days when justice seems partial and we are asked again and again to pay attention a bit closer to each other and our souls and the unknown and varied risk and histories we carry. Help us find our way little by little toward the common good and the common health. Each act of defiance or resilience or solidarity or care adds up to something strong enough, wide enough, hopeful enough to hold us through the ache of patience and uncertainty, into the possibility and beauty and joy and strength that we find in the present moment. so that we might be nourished to keep on the path of love and justice. We hold in our hearts this day all those who suffer in mind, in body, or spirit. I invite you to bring the names you're holding in your own heart this day in joy or sorrow, celebration or concern, and silently or aloud now in this time to speak their names. For all those names, spoken and unspoken, may we be forever grateful for the fabric of love and life that weaves us together. May those threads hold us in love and strength. These words of meditation come from Mary Oliver, chosen by Heather today. Who made the world? Who made the swan and the black bear? Who made the grasshopper? This grasshopper, I mean, the one who has flung herself out on the grass, the one who is eating sugar out of my hand, who is moving her jaws back and forth instead of up and down, who is gazing around with her enormous and complicated eyes. Now she lifts her pale forearms and thoroughly washes her face. Now she snaps her wings open and floats away. I don't know exactly what a prayer is. I do know how to pay attention, how to fall down into the grass, how to kneel down into the grass, how to be idle and blessed, how to stroll through the fields, which is what I have been doing all day. Tell me, what else should I have done? Doesn't everything die at last and too soon? Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? May it be so. Amen.
Sorry about that. We weren't quite ready.
I was totally absorbed in that. That was beautiful.
You know, these last couple years, the pandemic, and I saw a lot of division happening.
Rock song.
And Charlotte just pointed out we're not doing that song. She's going to get a prelude to. Let's practice for the next one. So I'll finish my story after this.
This is a story that began long, long ago. I was a young oak tree in dark Missouri soil. And like all other saplings, I had dreams of growing strong and tall. Then one day a rebel with a bullet in his chest hung his rifle on my limbs and laid to rest. And there beside me, as the blood soaked my roots, the soldier sang a song of grace. The heavy rifle pulled me over to the ground. 3 years I stayed this way until the rifle fell. And in this manner for 100 years I grew all my dreams not meant to be. But then one day 2 men came with a cross-cut saw. They spoke of how my arch would hold away blade so strong. And I feared not the blade for such a worthy cause. And so I fell, I gladly fell. Careful blade, and as he works, he raids my rich red grain. Perhaps it was the soldier's blood that day. Now I'm the wooden arch that holds the mighty bell. 3 stalks before me crept, but I shall never fail. Up in a tall cathedral, high above my dreams of long ago. Sunday morning, when I hear that glad refrain, I see the soldier's face like it was yesterday, calling angels down from heaven with that song he'd softly sing of God's good grace.
Well, first off, I want to thank Luke for making me cry before I even started talking. So hopefully we'll get through this with his rendition of the reading of the poem. So growing up, I knew my grandma loved 4 things above all else: my grandpa, her grandkids, soap operas, and Jesus. I always joked with my grandma that she was the most Catholic I knew. She attended every service available, helped with funerals, sat adoration several times a week, and was a Eucharist minister well into her mid-80s. Now, I grew up with a mom, her daughter, who was decidedly anti-religion. There were no prayers before bed, no grace before dinner, or crosses decorating our home. Even so, she decided that I needed to attend Sunday school every week. So, like every other kid in my small town, I got dropped off at 10 a.m. at church and promptly picked up at 11 a.m. Only in their case, their parents usually stayed at the church too. So when she picked me up, my memories are just of listening to Casey Kasem's Top 40 on the way home and not talking about the church or the religious education class I attended. This trend continued through my first communion and through confirmation in high school. Church was never really a thing I got anything out of, though. It was more just like a compulsory place I had to go. During my high school days in the mid-1990s, there was the rise of the evangelical movement. That meant the majority of my classmates were wearing their What Would Jesus Do bracelets, singing along to the rise of the Christian rock bands, and really leaning into purity culture by courting Jesus and not dating humans. They also would attend large events, mostly at the Target Center, where kids would profess their faith while crying in the stands. I was a little alarmed by this. It seemed more like a cultural hysteria than a true religious awakening. It was like these friends and classmates were getting caught up in a fever more than anything else, and I was not moved by it. However, as much as I was put off by all this hysteria, there was still a piece of me that did admire something that these kids were going through. They got a feeling from the experience. While I was ambivalent at best about religion, I still wondered, was I missing something? Why did I not feel what they were feeling? Was there another religion that would give me the feeling that they had? So I began my research. I took many online tests that asked, "What religion are you?" And I was regularly told that I was Unitarian Universalist, agnostic with a bit of humanism thrown in. And I thought, cool, but I didn't know what any of those words meant. So I began Googling, and I really did like what I was reading. It made sense to me. I connected very much with the values of the UU faith as well as humanism. So on a cold fall morning while in my sophomore year of college, I made my way to my very first UU service at Unity Church Unitarian in St. Paul, Minnesota. I remember walking in and feeling a sense of peace. I loved the minimal style juxtaposed with the old building and the warm, welcoming smiles and the music softly playing as we gathered. Then the service started and I started crying, and I cried the entire hour. I cried because I finally felt it, that feeling I so admired in classmates. I felt a connection to the words that were being said. They spoke like they were being spoken directly to me, and I was uplifted by the music and the singing. I knew I had found my spiritual home. From that Sunday on, I attended Unity. I took adult religious education courses, helped form a young adult group, and taught religious education once Jasper, my child, started classes, and I loved all of it. After a few years, we began to move a lot for my work. I was really sad to leave Unity, but I also knew that we could find a community in any UU congregation wherever we moved to. In fact, before we officially moved down here to Rochester from Minneapolis, I had to be sure there was a UU congregation in Rochester or at least a town nearby. And lucky for us, we found all of you. Now that we're in our forever community and our forever church, I have been thinking deeper about my faith. My first instinct, like before, was to begin to research the history of UUism, to learn more about the founders of UUism, to really learn about other religions and look at the intersections of all of those religions. I really wanted to understand what I profess as my spiritual home. And although that is really, really important, and I love all the theologians in the room, that was really getting in the way of me fulfilling the need I have related to my faith, which is the connections created and that indescribable feeling I get. Often I try to figure out what that feeling is, but I'm realizing that I don't need to. I can just feel it. And it's felt many different times. When walking into church and seeing so many welcoming faces, when creating a meal with a cook team for dozens of people on a Wednesday night, when teaching religious education and learning from the wise words of the kids, or when a reading in the service hits right on the chest, like it did with the Mary Oliver poem, or when music flows through us all. Lately, I have often thought of how this feeling is present outside of the church walls. In her poem, How I Go Into the Woods, Mary Oliver writes, "I have my ways of praying, and as no doubt you have yours. Besides, when I'm alone, I can become invisible. I can sit on top of a dune as motionless as an uprise of weeds until the foxes run by unconcerned. I can hear almost the unbearable sound of roses singing." And I get this. Historically, I have not had a good relationship with prayer. I never really got it or found it important. But when I'm in the woods, each step is a prayer of thanks to the earth beneath my feet, to the trees protecting me from the sun, and to the interconnectedness of us all. My grandma used to talk about how the lapping of the ocean waves was like a meditation to her. And during a trail run last summer, I remember feeling the same meditation as I listened to the steady swish, swish of the water in my hydration pack as I went up and down the hills of Oxbow Park. It made me think that even though my grandma and I had different religious beliefs, how our faith made us feel connected, grounded, and safe linked us and so many others in the power of mystery and love. So now when people ask, what the heck is Unitarian Universalism? I give the standard, we're a faith built on values rather than beliefs, and list off a few of the principles. But I always end with, and it's my home.
So I get to finish what I've... So we know there was a lot of division these last couple of years. And I just started watching all that and just thinking, I came up with this song called Love is Unity. I just want to encourage people to find the things we have in common with each other. One, two, three, four. Forces yet unseen, causing us to disagree. And as we reach towards unity, we reach for love to set us free. Love to set us free.
Everybody's life intertwines with other people's lowest times. Compassion is in hands of grace. Show them love, don't you hesitate.
Don't you hesitate. Oh, when life seems to create disunity, could overtake us. Seems like forces that want to break us, keep us running round in races. Love the human race. simplicity. Answers love is unity. Love is unity. Hey, love is unity. Ooh, love is unity. Oh, unity. Love is unity. Do, 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 do. Come on. Do, 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 do. Said love is unity. Ooh, love is unity. Come on. Do, 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 do. Love is unity. Ooh, love is unity. Woo.
Good morning. When Luke first asked me to speak, well over a month ago now, my gut reaction was to say yes. Absolutely, I would share with the congregation parts of my UU journey. I was raised in a small Unitarian Universalist church back in southeast Iowa, dedicated when I was 6 months old, spent my formative years going up the stairs for youth group, danced around the maypole, participated in PFLAG events, and attended countless potlucks, among other things. My family parted ways with that congregation when I was around 15, but the values and spiritual openness was something I continued to search for, especially in my early adulthood. In fact, my partner Dan and I were married at the UU, my UU, where I walked down the same steps of youth group down the aisle. My experiences there have absolutely helped shape what I believe in as an adult. So I thought to myself, what an honor to share with my new congregation. Sounds like a fun challenge. And then, a few days later, we were informed that the school district where I work as an elementary school counselor would pivot to distance learning for 2 weeks. My first thought, okay, this is a bummer, but it's the right call. We've done this before. We've got this. So things shifted virtually again. But just as quickly, we were back in school, ready to rebuild in-person routines. And I remember thinking, again, we've done this before. We've got this. And then Amir Locke, a black man, was killed by police in Minneapolis, bringing the masses back to the streets, mourning together to ask why and demand change. We've done this before. Next, an angry, misinformed group of people, some of whom waved signs of hate and white supremacy, but all crying out for freedom from science and loving their neighbors, set up camp in a nation's capital, Ottawa, threatening others and disrupting daily life. We've done this before. And then Russia sent troops to the Ukrainian border, which elicits media speculation and requires assertive and postured responses from all sorts of different world leaders, all the while leaving the rest of us to worry and wait and see. We've done this before. With all of that, I found myself postponing and rewriting this reflection because all the way up to the suggested due date, and I'm sorry about that, because many times over the last month and a half, I have felt empty, drained, and as the saying goes, you can't pour from an empty cup. So when I asked myself the question, what do I believe in? Over and over, I was upset, angry even, at my gut reaction. Because the answer was and is humanity, even though humans are the very source of my frustration and exhaustion. Funny how that goes, isn't it? There's a phrase from a story that I often refer to in moments of my own frustration with others. It's something that I say to myself when I feel my jaw tighten and my shoulders tense, when my mind races with endless thoughts where I label others as idiots or jerks. Because when that happens, I have learned that I need to pause, because it's not only uncomfortable to feel that way and paralyzing for me to feel that way, but I also don't do my best thinking or problem solving. And if you can't tell, I am in my head thinking and talking to myself all of the time. So the story is called Dudley, Pippin, and the Principal. And it's part of a compilation of short stories, poems, and songs put together by actor and activist Marlo Thomas in a book called Free to Be You and Me. Growing up, we had a VHS of the television special from the 70s, and it was one of my favorite things to watch as a kid. So in the story, Dudley is accused of making a mess in the classroom, even though it wasn't him. The teacher makes him stay after school to clean it up, and as he walks out, he's feeling pretty upset by the whole situation. And that's when the principal shows up, and they start talking, where Dudley, in his explanation of the event, starts to cry. Immediately, Dudley apologizes because, quote, "only sissies cry." The principal responds to let him know that that's not true, how it's okay to cry, in which Dudley replies, "I am all mixed up." The response that comes next is what I carry with me. The principal says, "Of course you are. Why should you be any different from anybody else? Most people spend their lives trying to get unmixed up. Why should you be any different? Most people spend their lives trying to get unmixed up." This phrase, this mantra, if you will, has brought me back down, back into my body so many times, from some of the biggest existential arguments I've ever had with myself. And once I'm back, my breathing gets a little bit easier. I can appreciate the view from my back door window a little bit more. But most importantly, I can sort out what I can do to influence my own surroundings with compassionate and intentional action. This has been one of my practices since I was 19 years old, when I rediscovered Free to Be You and Me as an English major, who also was newly diagnosed with a painful autoimmune disease. It reintroduced itself to me when I needed it, and I understood it at a deeper level than I had when I was growing up. Even now, thinking about having that kind of literature at my fingertips as a kid, I start to think about how it is far from perfect, but Free to Be You and Me also has stories that challenge gender normativity. And it also really puts a spotlight on Black and brown characters experiencing joy, and how that may be enough for some politician to put it on a banned book list, prompting the thought, again, we've done this before. But right now, I'm not in front of my representatives arguing for transparency in history and literature. Right now, as I write, I'm on my couch, looking out my back door window at naked tree branches in the morning sunshine, wondering what my dog is doing unsupervised in the back room. And soon as I speak these words, I'll be in front of you, probably nervous, definitely having recovered over a few fumbled sentences, but back in a space where I feel a strong sense of belonging, hoping to refill my cup with motivation and positive sense of spiritual well-being. And that, in a nutshell, is what I believe. I believe in the many overwhelming injustices and unfair societal systems that continue to target the most marginalized, the most underserved populations, and the earth itself. I believe in difficult personal and professional pivots that require time to think when it feels like there is no time. Things I'm sure we all know and that we've all done before. But I also believe that it's all balanced with moments of perspective, peace, and appreciation, which gives energy and bonds communities so that we can all influence our surroundings with love, care, and the understanding that we're all just trying to get unmixed up. I feel so ridiculously fortunate for the privileges afforded to me in my life. Being raised UU is one of them. because it's rooted me so that I can dedicate my life to helping others, particularly kids, navigate the ups and the downs of their lives. So even though my emotionally charged thoughts and conversations with myself take a lot of time, take so much time, you guys, so much time, but I value processing my emotions fully and responding kindly to myself, to pause, so I can remember that I also believe that justice shall roll down like waters, that it can get better here and now and for future generations. We've got this. Please stand for the singing of our hymn. Lyrics are on the back of your program.
So as the band comes up, I want to say thank you first to Stephanie and Heather for your beautiful reflections. And I invite you to take a breath and remember that we are all on journeys of believing things that we once did and things that we no longer can. And our own hearts and souls are a both and, always growing and changing. So I offer this benediction. Go yonder, and gather the people. Give them not hell, but courage and hope. Give them something of the love you have found here, and tell all the people that love is our home. Amen.
Did you take that off?
Right.